Okay, my name is Holly Mincer. I'm the owner of Suffragette City Vintage in Hyattsville, Maryland, which is part of the Shops at So High sort of co-op collective. It is a vintage clothing store. We have vintage clothes, jewelry, and accessories, and some handmade things as well. And by vintage, I generally mean mid-century, 50s, 60s, into the 70s, and then as far back as we can find.
Cool. And so what made you decide to open this business, and how did you get started?
I've been selling vintage clothes in some capacity for close to 10 years at this point. I used to have a shop space in Tacoma Park. I rented part of the space at Polly Sue's Vintage for 5 or 6 years. When they moved, I lost my space, but this is what I do for a living, and I wanted to keep doing it. And Sue Older, who owns Tanglewood Works, she has been in this space for a while now, I think close to 5 years. She does custom furniture painting and a lot of handmade things, and she was switching to doing more custom work and less painting furniture and putting it out in the store, which meant that she had a lot of space to fill, and I had a lot of things that needed a space, which worked out pretty well.
What are some of the challenges of owning a business during a pandemic, and how are you meeting those?
I mean, beyond the obvious, I'm here 5 days a week, 8 hours a day in a mask, and that's not the comfiest. It's just quiet compared to what would normally be our traffic. Not as many people coming in. I don't know that I'd want to be slammed every day because I wouldn't feel comfortable having too many people in here, but yeah, it's tough for any small business to hit the balance of enough customers to keep the door open, but not so many that it's unsafe.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So what would your customers say they love most about your business?
I think that they're always excited to find the things that they won't find anywhere else. Pretty much everything in the store is one of a kind. So I should also clarify, the 3 businesses that share this space, used bookstore, vintage clothing store, and then handmade and DIY. So you're not going to find these things in other places. We're the only ones that have them because we're the ones who made them or found them. And we try to have a good mix of stuff that appeals to a range of interests and that is unique and interesting.
That sounds great. Mm-hmm. What are other places here in the neighborhood that you especially like?
Our neighbors are all great. Basically, Hyattsville's an arts district, there's lots of arts-based businesses. Also, like all major nerd hobbies are covered in about a 3-block radius. We've got the vintage clothes and the books and the art supplies and the DIY. There's a wonderful fabric store next door, Three Little Birds Sewing Studio, printmaking and book art studio across the street the other way at Pyramid Atlantic. Franklin's is a great brew pub with an attached toy store that has board games. So if you're into board games, that's where we have them. And then there's also like 2 or 3 other breweries, Sangfrog next door and the distillery next door, and Maryland Mead Works and Streetcar Brewery. And Artisan Craftsman Supply is a really wonderful art supply store that's employee owned, just a couple blocks away.
That is a great store.
So I'm probably missing a couple. There's Green Owl Design is wonderful. Fleischer's across the street is a jewelry store that's been in business for I think since the 40s. There's a lot of really great stuff in the neighborhood. There's Red Onion Records up the street. So we have some vinyl here, but they have a lot more. I'm sure I'm missing a couple, and I'll feel bad later because it'll be someone I know. Will's Decorating, Tiered and Petite Bakery. Just lots of really cool things, lots of people working really hard to make this neighborhood, thriving. And yeah, they're all great.
Hyattsville, Brentwood, and Mount Rainier are all part of the Arts District, right?
I think so. It's a good chunk of the Route 1 corridor. I think Mount Rainier is kind of the tail end, also because they're right on the DC border, but there's not quite as much retail down there as there is here. But I think we'll see that change as things go as close to normal as they can as more people get vaccinated and life starts happening again. I mean, I hope anyway.
Cool. So, Holly, what are your goals for this next year?
I think planning ahead is something that we've all learned not to do in the last year. But, you know, keep the doors open, keep the lights on. I want to get back into the swing of more handmade things. I make jewelry, but I've hardly done it at all this past year because it's just been so weird to have like any creative energy with everything going on. And I want to start making handmade jewelry on a regular basis again and have more of that available here. I do like assemblage jewelry with vintage and antique components, so they're all one-of-a-kind pieces. And yeah, just kind of keep, but also like get back to treasure hunting the way I normally do. Start going to flea markets again, see some of the people that I haven't seen in a while because the events I would see them at did not happen.
Yeah.
And hopefully find some cool things to bring back here.
So what is the best way for customers to reach you? And what would you like them to know about your business?
Email is usually easiest. I am most likely to see that and respond quickly. I also have a Facebook page and an Instagram where you can message me. But what do I want people to know? Just that if you're interested in vintage clothing, if you like retro styles, or if you just want one-of-a-kind pieces that no one else will have, if you like the kinds of stores where, you know, it's a treasure hunt and you'll always find something unexpected, you should definitely come check us out. I think you'd have fun.
Okay, cool. Let me just take a little pan around here
Sure.
and maybe tell me what we're looking at here.
Okay, well, we're behind the counter right now, so it's kind of through the weird COVID plastic screen I've got set up, but these racks have got vintage clothes on them, dresses and skirts and tops and jackets from roughly the 1940s through the 1980s is most of the range. We've also got lots of vintage jewelry. As you go over that way, you'll see the bookstore section. We've got some handmade stuff from local artists, from myself and from Sue and a few others. The bookstore's got a really great selection, and then over this way is more of Tanglewood Works stuff. She makes really beautiful jewelry. She paints all the furniture. She takes vintage furniture and makes it over with chalk paint and other supplies that we also sell. And yeah, this is all vintage and antique jewelry in here. So a little bit of everything.
Cool. Great. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me, I guess.
Really appreciate it.